Welcome to The Authentic Exchange, where real men have real conversations and engage in authentic communication. I'm Josh Bird, and I'll be your host. I appreciate you guys joining in for part 2 of episode 2. This is the interviews. So, as I stated earlier, I am about to begin the interview portion with one of my good friends, just asking him a few questions to try to get a little bit of insight about myself, things that I maybe haven't picked up on, didn't realize at the time. I think this is a great opportunity to use the people that we have in our lives that are close friends, the relationships and the connections that we have to people. I think it's great to use those as mirrors so that we can see some of the weaknesses, some of the flaws, and some of the things that we need to work on. I appreciate you joining me tonight, bro. I got 2 big questions for you. One, I want to know, how did me being closed off and guarded affect our friendship? You know, were there things that you wanted to talk about that you didn't talk about? Were there things that you wanted to kind of share, or was there a deeper connection that you were looking for that maybe you didn't get, or something to that effect? And for the life of me, as I sit and I think about it now, I have no clue how we were able to develop such a close friendship when I was very, very guarded, very, very closed off, and just kind of always felt the need to kind of protect myself, and I struggled to let people in and really trust people. So I'm curious, from your perspective, what made you want to befriend me? You know, what helped us develop the relationship to the extent that we have it now?
Yeah. So, man, first of all, I appreciate you even asking me those questions, man, because, just for a person to, want to hear information that, that's just straight truthful and from a friend about themselves is like, it's different and it's really strong, because it can actually do so much for a person to have a friend to, be honest and just upfront and just tell them, everything that they, asking about themselves, what I feel like is great. So I actually start with the second question first, because I think, that can actually come full circle. Okay. But how we became good friends, first of all, it's a funny story, is, my wife met you first, and I didn't know you, and my wife met you. She seen the person you was. She seen how you interacted with kids. She seen how much you love kids. She seen how you just was a good person, and you always wanted to help people and all that stuff. And she seen that you were trying to help our kids get into a after school program and all that stuff, and without even knowing us. And we had just moved into town, and you didn't even know us. And she was just, you told me that she was like, "Hey, man, you need to meet my husband. I think y'all are clicked." And you said, you told me, you was like, "Hold up, you mean I need to meet your husband? Like, what's going on?" But I think what it is she knew, just her knowing a little bit about you, she know me well. So she probably feel like, man, this dude right here and my husband, they probably be pretty cool, because they like a lot of the same things. They both love kids, and they love to try to help kids and stuff like that. We actually met. I thought you were a pretty cool dude, man. Seeing you at the after school program, talking to you, and just laughing and joking about things, I was just like, man, this dude is actually pretty cool. I don't remember how it just kept going, because I saw you every day, because I picked up the kids. So I saw you every day. We talked every day, and I just remember we had a lot in common when it came to sports and kids and stuff like that. And so I understood exactly what my wife was talking about when she felt like that we would probably hit it off, because we had the same interests and similar interests, and we still got those same things today. And that's the crazy part about it. I will tell you, even fast forward into now, it's crazy that people, it's like this for real. And I know, and anybody that hear this, they might understand, man, but you can actually have somebody that can be like your family member, can be like a brother, and that you weren't raised with, that you met them at a certain time in your life, and y'all end up doing so much together and growing together that they're like a brother. Like, for real, like a brother. What's crazy is this. I've been knowing you now for about 15 years. And
that's crazy.
And yeah, that's crazy, for real. I've been knowing you now for about 15 years. So how old was you 15 years ago?
Man, look, man, I got to do the math.
Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? You was young.
Oh,
and so I met you about 15 years ago. And I mean, the conversation we had, the things we done done, and the stuff you know about me, the stuff I know about you, we did a ton of stuff. But I think what happened was, when you think about friendships, you got some friends that you can talk sports about, you can do all the stuff I just named, and you still a cool friend. But when you get close, that's when it crosses over. That's when you start talking about deep conversations. That's when you start really getting into some stuff that, you know, only a close friend would tell a close friend. And so I think what happened for me is I started, you know, I had a lot of stuff going on. You know, I was a barber, I had 3 kids, I got a wife and all that. And at the time, you know what I'm saying, you was single, you know, and you had time and you worked and you spent a lot of time at the church and all that stuff. So you was my guy. So like, it's times when I opened up, you know, you listen, you know what I'm saying? And so what I realized is you listened to me and you gave me some great advice. Okay. One thing that stood out to me was, sometimes when you listen to me, your memory is so sharp that if I came and I had something similar situation later on or something totally different, you was able to tell me what we talked about a while back and how did I respond to what I said then. And so you was able to replay to me, you know what I'm saying, some stuff that can help me at the time that, you know, I was dealing with some other stuff. And I really appreciated it. And I was like, man, okay, this dude is sharp. And so you was able to connect some things, you know, with some of the stuff I had going on to some of the stuff that I already had talked about in the past. So you remembered a whole bunch of stuff. So to me, you know, that's what the friendship was. That's what friendships is about. And I actually leaned on you like for that. I relied on you for it. I mean, everything, like, it's like, you know, it was so weird because the other part that I'm here to get into, I didn't realize that until later. So it's crazy because the whole time we close friends and I'm feeling like, bro, we like brothers. Uh-huh. But I didn't realize the majority of the stuff that was having the deep conversation was me talking to you. and I didn't realize that. And then you talking back to me. And so those were some deep conversations, whether it was stuff about my kids, my wife, anything. You know, we talked a little bit more in depth on some stuff. And I just kept seeing it's a whole lot of stuff I was missing. And I was like, man, you know what I'm saying? When it came to stuff about, you know, childhood, you never really said anything about none of that stuff. When it came to stuff about, you know, relationships, I realized you never said. I started thinking, like, this dude ain't told me all the night. I done told this dude my whole life story. You know what I'm saying? All about my family and friends back home, everything. And I mean, I ain't heard much of nothing about no personal information from him, and we close like that. And so, what I did is, I did realize that the more I talked to you, you was kind of more like secretive, kind of closed off a little bit, like you didn't really care for, you know, expressing a lot of stuff. Uh-huh. So I started trying to get strategic and trying to get some of that stuff out of you. So what I started doing was, hey, I started asking some direct questions. You gave me some direct answers, or sometimes you hit me with the and you was like trying to figure out how you want to answer the question. And I'm like, man, this dude really struggling with this. We do, like, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay, well, maybe it could be so many different things. It could be something that you feel like you might be embarrassed about. It could be something that you feel like you just don't want to talk about because you just don't want to go back to whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? Anything. What I'm talking about is like personal stuff and stuff like that. So I'm like, you know what? I ain't gonna push it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. He is who he is. He gonna kind of like, hey, keep that thing tight, keep that thing in wraps, and I'm still gonna be me, and I'm still gonna be his boy, and we just if he want to open up, he do. But it's still a couple of times, even when me thinking like that, it was a couple of things when I find out stuff that even had to do with you, and it kind of it did bother me, because I felt like, what I'm saying, I just felt like it was one-sided. I felt like I was open. I felt like I told you everything. It ain't put it this way, it ain't much. You probably, out of every single person that I know besides my wife, you probably know more about me and all the stuff that went on with me than anybody else besides my wife.
Wow.
And so for that to be the case, I feel like I didn't know hardly nothing about you. And like I said, I think I noticed it when you got into, you start talking to somebody, and I noticed that everything was kind of like, oh shoot, you talking to somebody, you ain't even talk to me, like you ain't even saying that, like everything, you had a full relationship, and I ain't know nothing about the relationship. I just know that you had one, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Well, he might talk to me a little bit about it, but nothing, you know what I'm saying? Only way I got information if I asked. You never would volunteer any information. Now, it was times where you did feel like if you had some questions about some things, or some things you might have, wanted some advice about, you did say, hey, let me ask you something. Even when you said, let me ask you something, you never would be full, like, asking the question or fully, like, explaining what you're talking about. It was almost like, I'm going to throw you a hint, and then we got to get into this conversation. And it was never, it was wild. It was never like, okay, this is what's going on. What you think about this, man? It wasn't none of that. It was almost like a hint. And I had to kind of like, okay, I know where he at right now. Let me try to figure this out. Let me try to see what's going on. Let me throw some stuff at him to see if it's like what I'm thinking. And then it was. And then it was like, okay, now I know how we can talk. And as time went on, it got a little bit better. But to me, I felt like you still had this block, man. You still had this one block where, I'm going to let you in a little bit, and we can talk about it a little bit, but I'm not going to let you, all the way in. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's like a shield that was up. As time went on, you know what I'm saying, things got better. But I think the biggest thing that kind of really crossed over is when we actually start working together, and we were seeing each other every day, and we talked to each other every day, we coached together, we worked together, and our conversations got a lot stronger. I feel like, man, even with all that stuff being said, you still was kind of a little closed off. You still, even though it's still a lot of stuff, I remember, like I said, up until a few years ago, we've been knowing each other for 15. Even up to about a few years ago, man, I'm talking about 3-4 years, it was times where I had to kind of really ask you direct questions, or talk to you directly about certain things, because I know if I waited till you talk to me about it, it probably wasn't going to be talked about. You still had that little barrier. You still was not, like I said, I had to be more direct with you to get information from you. First, I used to be like, I didn't want to say certain things, because I don't know how you're going to take it. I don't know what it's going to be like. But we so close, I'm like, I'm just going to shoot it to him straight. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, we just, we learned to, just build a relationship, and just kind of, take the egos out. Stop trying to, like, really, we weren't trying to be stubborn. We just kind of like, hey, listen, from what I done seen, you know what I'm saying, from where you was, like, some years ago to now, that's major, bro. I'm serious, like, for real. Because, now, even this us being on this conversation, this phone like this, man, like, Josh Bird a few years ago wouldn't have been on the phone asking about none of this stuff. You didn't call yourself the brilliant for that. That Josh Bird, years ago, like I said, we probably wouldn't have had this conversation like this. You know what I'm saying? If we did, I don't know how open would have been. So now you at this point where you anything to you, and it's like, I'm willing to accept it, bro. And I'm trying to, just hear everything you're saying, so I can kind of see where I was, what you were, in your opinion, where I was, and where I'm at now, in your opinion. You know what I'm saying? Just, cause we friends, I just want to hear you out. But I really like I said, I look at you like a brother, man. And I just, like I said, anything anything that I don't feel like it ain't nothing I can talk to you. I can't talk to you about, like, anything. I don't care what it is. I feel like I can have a conversation with you. You always been, you ain't always seen my way, my side, or nothing like that. That's one thing I appreciate, that you always was able to, when I'm wrong, you told me, nah, bro, you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? When anything I had going on, you always was able to tell me the truth. And that's what I appreciated. You didn't try to just fill me up with gas and be like, yeah, bro, yeah, knowing that I was wrong. You never did that. And like I said, man, for you on my end, like how you, responded to me, saying, I really appreciate it. So I felt like a lot of the stuff, like I said, some of the stuff I just would never say to you at first, I feel like I had to. I said, because if I talk to you about certain things in certain ways, then that would help you in the future, because, I knew you was closed off. And I was like, man, I got to talk to him about it, because at the end of the day, I'm not telling him to tell me his whole life story, but I don't know what it is, but I just felt like it wasn't the same. I didn't feel like I was getting the same energy from you. But like I said, I got to the point where I knew how to communicate with you on that level when it came to that. Like I said, these conversations that we've had in this last year, man, it's been real major, because I think that it's done definitely helped us out a lot of understanding each other even more.
Well, what I'll say is that, I'm grateful that you joined me on the call and were willing to share honestly, openly, authentically about me. I can definitely acknowledge that there were definitely moments in my life where I would not have been able to do this. I couldn't look in the mirror. I couldn't listen to, an honest critique. But I am absolutely grateful to call you a friend, to call you a brother. And, as I listened to this, you heard me laughing and just kind of chuckling as you were kind of going through and just kind of answering the question and, sharing some detail and giving some insight about me. It's funny because all of it's true. But I don't think people have the opportunity to, really sit back and listen to how they were. I think the positive thing that I take away is literally that you have seen growth. The growth that you've seen, you've been trying to piece it together just because that's who you are. You're always trying to figure something out. Like, hey, man, what's the catalyst, man? What caused this? A lot of it really came down to me actually being honest with myself. I've been doing a whole lot of self work just with me over the last few years. And that's really where the bulk of that transformation has really come to. I've been on a mission to create the best version of myself that I can be. When I began to learn how to embrace vulnerability, instead of feeling like I had to protect myself, instead of feeling like I had to be closed off, I learned that when I open up, when I'm able to honestly share and be transparent with whatever it is that I have going on and, who I am, I'm able to connect with people in a much, much more genuine way. We joked about it, but I had literally learned and mastered the art of not telling anybody anything, not revealing anything. I could answer your question, like you said before, and you wouldn't have any greater insight or any idea as to what I'm dealing with or what I'm going through than before I answered the question. And I could do it, and I mastered that ability to do it. And so it's a process, but I am learning day by day how to be more open, how to live in an authentic way. And that is truly what this whole podcast is about. I want men to be able to connect, just like we were able to connect, to uplift one another, to encourage one another, to just be transparent with one another. And, I'm glad that you were able to get on here because you saw a lot. Like you said, 15 years is a lot. You caught me at a very early age in life, right around, I'd say maybe like 23, 24. And so you've seen a lot of growth up until now, me turning 38. And I want other men to experience the freedom that I have by just being who I am, just owning who I am, and walking in that. At one point in my life, I didn't have the courage to do it, and it prevented me from having, deep relationships. It prevented me from, actually sharing stuff. And so, unfortunately, I had to carry unnecessary weight. I had to carry unnecessary burdens because I didn't feel comfortable sharing with other people. As you mentioned, I was really comfortable listening to somebody. I can give you some advice. I could share some stuff, but, most people never recognized or realized that it was one-sided. And so you picked up on that. And like I said, as I listen to it, it's crazy to me. I'm just like, wow, man, this is insane. That's a lot of work that you did to figure out how to communicate with me. And you looked at it and something made you believe that, hey, man, this was worthwhile, man. That, hey, man, I'm going to make this investment of my time and my energy to deal with this brother. I know he's a good dude, man, but this is a little difficult, but I'm going to figure it out. Like I said, I'm grateful for the friendship. It has definitely enriched my life. I look forward to being able to operate and move, in transparency and just complete authenticity as I continue to grow.
Yeah, I would say one more thing too. If anybody listens to this that actually going through the same kind of stuff, I would say this: sometimes for the other person that's not closed off, for the person that is closed off, just remember that it could be challenging for that other person because they can be, if they feel a certain way. Some people don't respond like I responded because I felt like you said, I know we was cool, and I just like, okay, I'm cool. I'm respecting how he rolled. That's how he rolled. I'm respecting it. We're just gonna roll with that. But at the end of the day, when you think about it, some people, even if they got a close friendship with somebody, when they're like that, some people feel like they feel the exact opposite. They feel like that person don't want to share anything with me. That person is, they probably start thinking that person is selfish. They probably start thinking that person just, more about him. And some people actually eventually try to go the other way because they feel like it's one-sided, and so and there's nothing that the other person is intentionally doing. It's just that's just who they are at that time.
Hey, thank you, man. Like I said, thank you for being patient with me. I think the message that you just shared was a really powerful one. And I think that's sound advice that, for anybody out there that's listening, if you know somebody or if it's you yourself, it is, like I said, it's liberating to get to a place where you can be yourself. And as the friend who is not closed off, one of the most powerful things that you can do is allow somebody to show up and accept them for who they are. And again, thank you for taking the time to sit, to talk, to share. Like I said before, I'm all about cultivating relationships and building deep and meaningful connections, and being able to utilize those connections as a mirror. When men get together and we can have conversations like this, we can have an exchange where you hold the mirror up and allow me to see what I look like. You allow me to understand myself a little bit better. And like I said, it's always in an attempt to help me be the best person, best version of myself that I can be, the best person that I can be. And I'm grateful for it. So thank you, man. I appreciate everyone that's tuning in today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading and checking out the podcast. I hope that you share this with someone so that it can be a benefit and a blessing. Until next time, much love and much abundance. As always, never forget to learn, to love, to grow, and to always move with grace. I'm Josh Bird. This is the Authentic Exchange, and I'll holler at you next time.